record on here for us.
Okay. Did you want it just audio or did you need video?
Whatever works better for you. I mean, video is always great just to see who's talking to them.
Okay. I'm post walking the dog, no makeup, but here I am.
Hey, that's better. That's keeping it real right there. I'll just kind of shoot you some questions, and same with Ashley too, that's on here with us. But in general, it's just conversation. So some of this is to kind of have our coaches that don't know you get to know you a little bit better,
Okay.
and then just kind of just finding out more, right? Like it's a little bit like a podcast, but in general, it's more just ask questions and find out like what we can find out from people that have been successful, how we can be successful in what we do as well.
Sounds good.
So if you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself first, where you've come from, I mean, you don't have to give us your whole life story, right? But kind of your beginnings into where you are now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Rachel Cosgrove, and let's see. Story starts way back growing up. My dad took me to the gym for the first time, fell in love with fitness, fell in love with the human body, what it can do for you. And really just when you put a demand on the human body, how it responds and changes, and really just fell in love with that whole process. So decided to go to school for physiology, got my degree in exercise physiology, and really just had a passion for fitness and helping people, and started to work as a personal trainer. At that point, after getting my degree at UC Santa Barbara, I moved to New York City and started working as a personal trainer full time. And really that was really when I started to hone my skills as a trainer, and really fall in love with that as a career path. At that time, this was 20 something years ago, so I've been in this industry for just a little bit. At that time, this really wasn't a career path. Being a trainer was something you did on the side. It was something, it was a part-time gig until you figured out what your real job was going to be. And so it really wasn't, even my degree was really a pre-med degree. Most of the people I went to school with went on to become doctors and physical therapists and medical degrees. And there wasn't actually, now it's great because you can actually get a degree in exercise physiology, which at that time there wasn't, that option. So I feel like I'm talking like I'm so old, but it was a long time ago. Basically getting into this industry, started to really love it. And I met my husband, Alan Cosgrove, in New York City. And he really became my first mentor to really introduce me to a lot of the different experts in the industry, start attending seminars, and start to really open up my world of, everything I learned in college was great, all the science, all the, the basics, but wow, there was so much more to learn. And so just really falling in love with learning everything I could, in fitness, and started to grow our business in New York City. Started as Cosgrove FAST Systems, and it was really me learning how to program, learning how to really get the best results for my clients. And so from there, we moved back to where I'm from, which is Southern California, and opened up Results Fitness. And we opened it 18 years ago. We've been open and up and running for 18 years. And we've built it from the bottom, from nothing. We had really no money. I actually got myself in a lot of debt when we were in New York. And so we were kind of digging ourselves out of that hole as we opened the business. And at this point, we have a team of 22. We have, a thriving business. And now we have our second business, Results Fitness University, where we coach fitness professionals around the world. And we're on a mission to change the way fitness is done. We really want to help more fitness professionals to implement the systems that we've put into place to really create a different experience for our clients and for people who are being introduced to fitness. And so that's really why I'm here today, to share, that passion of being able to change the way fitness is done and to help more trainers to come on board with that mission.
That's awesome. Well, and truthfully, there's two ways that I've even heard about you. Is I believe I saw you at a Perform Better Summit. That's the first time I was introduced to you and got to hear some of your material. But then we've even been, like you said, Results Fitness University. We have Ben down here, Epic Fitness, that I'm friends with. Uh-huh. And then we just talked to Laura and Jason at now it's off the top of my tongue.
Yeah. Chief Fitness in Boston. Yeah.
And so, I mean, like it's not just what you guys have done yourself, right? You've also built like a great amount of teams and a culture like that has been spreading into other gyms. And then just to kind of just tell you where we're at right now, like Vasa Fitness is just a big box gym, and we're trying to be basically a personal training gym that happens to sell memberships. Like we have a cage in a separate room that's for just our clients. Well, we have machines and some other things around where members can work out. And then inside that cage is just for clientele. So, I mean, what are some of the things that you would say? Because usually you're working with more at Results Fitness University, and you tell me if I'm wrong, you're working with more people that already have their own like personal training gym, right? Like a smaller facility, not multiple big box gyms, smaller facility that's just more for personal training, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we work with all sorts. We have people who are just getting their gyms open. So we do our 2-day mentorship, which is an in-person mentorship. So to that, we limit it to 20 businesses. And so basically you come out and you spend 2 days with us, see Results Fitness, and see how it's running. And did the sound just get funny? You get to see how Results Fitness is running and really see how we run our business and our systems. And honestly, running a business it doesn't matter what kind of business you're running, whether it's a big box gym, a small gym, a coffee shop, a grocery store, the rules of business are all the same. So we all have to learn how to market. We all have to learn how to, do numbers. We all have to learn how to sales, which are all of the things that most personal trainers have no clue how to do. And so that's really our job is, because we've been there, we've been the trainer who opened a gym, who has no idea how to sell a membership or how to, set your business up so it's sustainable for the long term, and really put those systems into place to be able to build a team and really, build a business that's not dependent on you and it's going to burn you out so that you're not going to be able to do it for the long term. And so everyone from people who are just getting open, which they're the easiest, like people like Lauren and Jason, they didn't have their gym open yet. And so we literally were able to, start with a clean slate and help them to build their business from the very beginning. Same with Ben. He was actually in another gym, and he as he had joined our group and was part of our Results Fitness University when he left that gym and went to open his own space. And so we also got to be with him from the beginning. And so that's obviously the best case scenario, because we can literally start with a clean slate. But we also have a lot of people who come in who've been running gyms, whether we do have a couple people who have franchises that maybe they need some extra help with, it's maybe they're big, like, a couple big gyms who they're with Velocity, or they're with some of the other franchises that are out there that they're looking for something different, a little, coaching on different aspects of their business. So, and then, like you said, we do have some people that come in that have maybe been in business for a number of years and have hit a lid, or are looking to get to that next level, and just are kind of stuck and are really looking for, a coach to help them to get to that next step. So it's really, Alan and I we're coaches, we're coaches by nature. That's who we are. We've been coaches our entire career, coaching our clients. And now we've really just shifted into full-time coaching fitness professionals. And so it's really just a matter of, where are you and where do you want to go? And let's figure out the steps to get you there. And then our job is to, figure out those steps and then hold them accountable to get to where they want to be. So it's all
That's
different
awesome.
gyms and businesses. Yeah.
So if somebody was to go to you and they don't, because I'm sure corporate level with us right now at Boss Fitness, you guys could help us a lot and kind of give us the right direction in certain things. How about like an individual level, like a coach that doesn't have their own business, right? But you're still running your own business. You're just working
Right.
for a corporation. What are like just a handful of things that you would kind of like recommend them to focus on to help them grow their business within a business?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good point. I think everybody should think of themselves as a business, even if you work for somebody. We encourage our trainers, who work at Results Fitness, like, think of yourself as like, take ownership, right? Because the more you take ownership, the more you're going to make decisions that are going to benefit you for the future and to build a career that's going to be long-term. And so, our entire team take ownership at Results Fitness. And so it's, you wouldn't know who's the owner because you'd walk in and think they're all the owners, which is how everybody should be, wherever they decide to, have their career at. And I always say opening a gym is not for everybody, and not everybody should do it. And honestly, if, I don't know if we would have done it if we had found a place that we felt, where we could keep growing and keep learning and keep, pushing and really able to do what we wanted to do. And so we always, say, if people are like, I don't know if I should open a gym. I work at, this place and I'm really happy there. Well, then, if you don't have frustrations and you're not, it's really not like worth taking the risk. So obviously opening a business is a huge risk. And anytime you're going to take those risks, you want to weigh those out. And so, really thinking about that, and wherever you're currently working, is there still room for growth? Can you still learn? Can you still, increase the amount of people you can help? Are the owners of where you're working giving you the opportunity to, take on other responsibilities and learn new things? And if so, then there's really no reason to move on and open your own place. And so in that situation, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's look at what can we, everything from building your personal brand. I mean, now with social media, there's, so many opportunities out there that you can reach a number of people in a very, from your phone, and it's become so much easier to really share your message. And so I'd say one of my number one advice is to figure out what you want to be the best at. And it doesn't mean you have to have your own facility or anything like that. Just decide you want to be the best at something. And like for me, when I decided I want to be the best at training females, I started every seminar I went to, every book I read, every client I trained. I just got super tunnel vision focused on becoming the best at training women. And it's really like the 10,000 hour rule, from the book Outliers. I don't know if you've heard of that rule, but that idea of, do anything for 10,000 hours and you can become the expert at it. So I think just a lot of people they don't get focused, and they try to be all things to all people. And just, coach everybody. Oh, I coach everybody. I coach athletes. I coach women. I coach, I do it all. But then you're kind of the jack of all trades. And so then you never become the expert at anything. And so really choosing one and becoming the expert at that. And so, every seminar I'd go to, I'd be listening for what information is going to help me to get better results with my female clients. What book can I read to help the women that I'm working with? And then every session taking notes. Okay, this is what I learned from my clients. And as I did that, it was literally about 10,000 hours. It was like 10 years into my career after making that decision. I got my first book deal. I got, women's health on the advisory board. I got asked to start speaking and on the Perform Better tour and, NSCA conference and all different conferences. So things started to happen for me. I started to realize, and that was, really interesting to see how it was literally that 10-year mark after I made that decision to become the best at something. So if I'm going to give you any advice, it's decide what you want to be the best at, decide, a path to really have tunnel vision and become the best at something for somebody so that you can really make a difference. And that's where you're going to start to get sought out as the expert.
No, that's awesome. Because I think that's a huge thing, what you just said. You got to put in the reps first off, right? Before you're an expert in anything. You can't just be like, oh, I read 2 books and I trained for 3 months. I'm the expert, like you're just barely starting. But then even just, I think it's harder in a big box gym sometimes because there's just a bunch of general pop coming through. They're just trying to take whoever they can to make an income too, but you can still do it and focus on, hey, who do I want to support? Because you're still going to have general pop no matter what, but it's also, hey, this is my expertise. Let me focus on that and not look at 5 different things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to keep your bread and butter of what's going to make the most money for you. And why not turn like general population into your athletes? That's what we do at Results Fitness. They become some of our world champion athletes. No joke. Like we've had people walk in who, they're like their doctor told them they had to start working out. And, they don't really want to be there. And then they start working out and start realizing their potential. And then pretty soon they're, getting into different, like we've had one lady who started getting into mud runs, and then she started getting into powerlifting. And so now she's like all into powerlifting, and she went to the world championships last year and she won. Wow. She's 67. So obviously her age group wasn't, but I'm like, yeah, she's our world champion athlete now. She's the woman who walked in our door who had, was not who you would have thought. Right. So don't always discount that the general population aren't going to become your next athlete. If that's, because I know a lot of people think, oh, I only want to work with athletes. And that's where everyone always goes to because they think that's exciting. But I mean, there is a much broader, population of people that need you that aren't, maybe athletes yet, but don't forget that they could become your athlete.
Yeah.
Rachel, I have a question.
Sure.
So You talk about how it took you about 10 years to kind of get to that point where you felt like an expert. And I think in the fitness industry, and especially in like a big box gym type of mentality, people end up hitting that wall maybe 1 or 2 years in where they feel frustrated or they feel like they aren't growing or whatever. How do you stay patient? How did you stay patient through that 10 years to be able to make it to that point where you're like, oh yeah, like I'm an expert, and all of a sudden all these things are blossoming for you?
It's definitely continuing education is one of the keys. I think if you're not learning and growing and getting ideas, because that's what's going to feed that motivation. You know, and it depends on your environment. Like for sure, being in a big box environment, if you are surrounded by people who don't have that growth mindset, that can get very stale, and you may have to find a different place to work, you know, because and that's where you can start to go, well, maybe I should open my own place, or maybe, you know, how do I find a place where, because that environment is huge. And so whether, you know, if you have some of the trainers that you're working with that, you know, or like have that growth mindset and are going to be reading books and going to seminars and attending, you know, Perform Better and really pushing, you know, to learn and get better. I mean, this industry is moving so quickly. And if you're not, you know, seeking out the knowledge and the information, then you're going to get behind pretty quickly. But just going to a conference, like just going to one of the, you know, like a Perform Better summit, you like come back fired up, right? And so if you do that, and maybe you have like 3 or 4 other trainers that work at the same gym as you, and you guys can all, you know, come back fired up, and then you can hold each other accountable and keep each other fired up. Because yeah, it's not easy, especially if you're on your own and by yourself in that growth mindset, trying to like, you know, push and get better and lead in the industry. It is like one of the things you do want to do is surround yourself with people who are also doing that, which is part of why we started Results Fitness University, was really so that, you know, all of our people that are in Results Fitness University come out 3 times a year and we mastermind, and we're all connected in a Facebook group. And, you know, so those days when you feel like, oh, I'm just losing motivation, and you know, then you can tap into your people, you know, who are also pushing, and so that they all really kind of go, you know, pull you along, and that way you can keep growing and learning. And I would definitely say that's one of the keys, is look at the people you're surrounded with. Does that help?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think we've done a good job at VASA with bringing a lot of continuing education opportunities. So that's been something that's been great about VASA as a box gym, and kind of separates it from other gyms, because we have a lot of those people in our gym and everyone kind of works together, and we have a lot of continuing education. So we've been able to grow together as a gym in that way, which has been awesome.
Good. Yeah. And if you guys are, you know, really leading that up and leading by example, you know, showing the team that, hey, this is, you know, we constantly are learning and improving. We're always looking for new things to bring in. I think that definitely keeps that momentum going, you know? Yeah.
Another thing you said though that brings up a ton of stuff is you can bring all the education you want, right? That helps somebody push forward, and it also keeps the environment strong, because if you're not learning, like I'm done if I go somewhere and I'm not learning anymore, right? I get bored. But you brought up something awesome of how you guys have your Facebook group, your mastermind group. The knowledge means nothing unless you can implement, right? And doing a really good job. It's not bringing knowledge. It's okay. Now it's accountability. It's follow up. It's implement. We just had even
your sound is cutting in and out.
Not too long ago. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it just keeps cutting in and out. Is it cutting in and out for you, Ashley, or is it just me?
Yeah, it was cutting out for me too. Yeah.
Like it was just me. I was trying to read his lips, but
yeah.
How about now?
It's getting
yeah,
it just keeps going in and out.
Okay. We'll see if you can even hear my question. If not, I'll jump off somehow and then get back on. But I think that's what you guys do really well, is like basically implementing a little bit more than just like, hey, let's get the knowledge, let's implement this, and then let's see how we can use this knowledge and further us, right, and grow. Otherwise, it's entertainment, right? And that's what even Mark's talking about. That's what they do in their business for unicorns. It's, hey, let's talk about this, let's learn about that, but then the follow up. That's the biggest thing here is, hey, after I learn this, how are we going to use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, can you go on that just a little bit further? How do you guys like stay connected? Like how you said, like Facebook mastermind group, but how do you keep that after you give them lots of information of how to grow? What are you asking? What are you doing to keep that fire underneath them of not just like, yay, I love learning, but how are you guys implementing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good point because I think there's different business coaches and different business groups that have different approaches, and some are very motivational, rah, like feel good, warm fuzzies, and, you go off and you're feeling all motivated and it's like, okay, then that fizzles and, now what? Our approach is definitely more of a, I'd say, actually, like we're like, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3. And I think part of it is because we do run a gym while we're coaching fitness professionals. So we see what the action steps are in the, like you were talking, like we're talking about, getting your 10,000 hours in. Like, I think a lot of people think instantly they can jump online and become a guru or an expert and not put those 10,000 hours in. And with us, because we've been putting the 10,000 hours in the trenches, and literally the gym's running today, and I can tell you, okay, we ran this marketing campaign and, here's exactly how to run it. Here's the language that we use. Here's the results that we got. We got, this many people who called in, this many people showed up for a strategy session, this many people signed up, and this is how many people of those people that signed up that stayed past the 30-day mark, and then, who renewed for, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like, I can give you all of that data and tell you exactly what works and tell you the exact steps that we took, so that's part of the, one of the things that we do. But then I think the other part of it is less is more, right? So a lot of times you need, like, having a coach or someone who's able to look at your, like, it's just like training, like with our clients, right? Our clients come in and, they're like overwhelmed because right now, especially, they get bombarded with all this information. They're like, my friend's doing this diet and I saw this online and I think I should do this fast. And what about this detox? And I think this should be amazing, right? And as their coach, we're like, hang on. Like, we don't need to do all of this. Calm down. Let's just start drinking more water, right? Like, we're like, okay, just chill out. You're not even like, you're having, you're not even eating breakfast. Let's start there, right? Like, we know how, like, because we see clearly, okay, like, you don't need to do all of this nonsense. But to them, they're just like, oh my God, I'll look at all of these amazing things, right? So I think it's easy to get overwhelmed because it's the same as when you're in, you're running your business and you're like, ooh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Oh my gosh, I should do that. What about that? And, it's like overwhelming. And whenever you're overwhelmed, you're going to seek distraction and get nothing done. Right. So that's like our tendency is to, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. So I'm just going to go scroll on my Facebook feed and, check out for the next hour and then finish the day and go, gosh, I got nothing done. Right. So if you find yourself doing that, then it's like, okay, let me look at, this list of things that I think I need to do and whittle it down to, what are the top 3 things I need to get done today? And so that's one thing that, we'll focus on is, let's just focus on 3 things that we need to get done. What are the 3 most impactful things to get you closer to your goal? And it does start with, what is your goal? Like, where are we going? And then what are those 3 things that you could get done today? And so for a lot of our team, like our Results Fitness University, team, when they come out for the masterminds, yes, it's a ton of information and a lot of them leave with all the kinds of ideas. So we go through usually at the end of the mastermind, a exercise to take them through and go, okay, put your goal at the top and then let's go through your list and which, let's score these, 1 through 5. How much impact does this have towards your goal? How much time does this take? Can you delegate it? Okay. Because if you can delegate it, then delegate it and, get that ball rolling. Right. And so kind of thinking through each of those, ideas and deciding, okay, you know what, these are my top 3 that I'm going to take action on. And I'm going to delegate these 2. So these 2 are going to get done. And then these I'm going to go ahead and put into a someday folder that we'll get to eventually. But right now, let me zero in on these 3 items. So I think that's the biggest key, is not trying to overwhelm yourself with too much at once. And then, like you said, we do have the support of, we have the Facebook group. We are on the phone with them once a month. So Alan and I, are coaching them through each month, like, okay, what, where are we at? What were the action steps that you took away? What did you get done so far? And, we can always side eyes looking in going, no, don't do the detox diet, or don't, like, so that, that's always makes it, so we can kind of, keep them on the right path. Right.
That's awesome. No, I didn't even think of it like that. You're basically doing two different things. Like as a coach, right? Like that's easy to see. Hey, you're chasing two rabbits. Let's just calm it down. Let's chase one for now. And then you do it on the business end too with other coaches and business owners. It's the same thing. Hey, you're chasing
it's
two
so funny.
rabbits. Let's just focus on the goal. Yeah, and that's organized priority. So I love that because I mean I'm sure we've all done that. I've done it myself too. Like, oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. And I'm just like going down several paths. And like you said, it's like ends up going, even if I'm not on Facebook wasting time, I'm like, what did I do today? I did like a little here, a little there, but I didn't really get
like you're busy
accomplished.
being busy,
so
but yeah.
I love that.
That's easy. It's easy to like fill your schedule with busyness. And then you're like, I didn't actually do the stuff that would have got me closer to my goals, you know?
So even in general, like, and this is just me thinking out loud, but in each gym, we basically have our own business where it's, they have a head trainer that is supposed to be helping the coaches with their business and them just being a coach and movement qualities. And that's where this comes in, right? It's like, hey, that person should be the leader of what you guys do for your teams. It's the same thing. Hey, let me organize not just your life, but your business. And so you have a direction.
Right.
And that's awesome. I love that.
I mean, and we even do that with our team too. So like we're doing a vision board goal setting workshop next week, you know, with our team at Results Fitness. And that's just, you know, all of us getting together and like, all right, what are your goals in life? Like, what are some of the things that you want to accomplish, you know, as a team? Like, let's share some of those things so we can hold each other accountable, you know? And so those things are powerful when you have people around you that, you know, you set goals and you put that stuff out there, and then you have people who are going to support you in that. I mean, you know, there's nothing that gets better than that.
Ash, did you have anything?
No, I think that's awesome. I like that you guys are really supportive with your team members and everything. One thing with our training, like our trainers, is kind of like Nick's saying, is they're in charge of like trying to help bring in their own clients. What's one thing that you could say, like as an individual trainer, if I'm on my own within this gym, like what's some best avenues to help bring in clients, to help like sell my own self? You said you talked about building their brand. What are some other things on their own within a gym setting?
So you know, one, it starts with what do they want to be known for, or what do they want to be an expert at, right? So if they figure that out, then they can kind of decide. So let's say like one of our coaches that's at Results Fitness, she is loves Spartan training, loves OCRs, you know, is all about it. You know, is one of the first ones who started our first teams. So that's one thing, right? Like decided, hey, can we do a team for Spartan, right? I'm like, sure. You know, so she ended up starting that off. Right now she's going to now looking for opportunities to get in front of people who would want to do OCR races. You know, yes, a lot of our clients wanted to do it, but there's a whole nother market out there, right? Who could be interested in that, you know, type of training. And so really looking for opportunities. So, you know, she's done things where she's gone out and spoke, you know, at, you know, different events, you know, got on into a TV appearance, you know, things like that, where she's speaking on this specific topic because she's the expert on that. You know, she's taken the certifications, she's, you know, like she races, you know, so that's something that I think going back to that advice of figuring out what you want to be the best at, I think that helps, because then you're looking for opportunities to really explore, you know, how can you get to know more people that are wanting to do the stuff that you want to, you know, be the best at. You know, I think overall, like it's marketing, right? Like you're asking me, it's really a marketing question. Like how do you, you know, how do you market, right? And so for trainers, that's something that they're not very good at. One of the, I think, easiest ways is, well, of course, referrals, like always referrals, like that's always going to be your number one source of new clients. And if you don't currently have some kind of a referral, you know, system in place, you definitely want to get that in place. That's, I mean, even 18 years into business, that's still our number one source of new members. I mean, it's just, that's because you're going to have new members who come in and then they're going to tell their friends about you. And like, if you're doing a good job, that should be your number one source of new members, like always getting referrals coming in. And so that's one question to ask is, am I getting referrals? You know, if not, maybe I should ask my clients if they know any, you know, who do you know that might be a good fit that could come in and join us, right? Easy. You're already talking to your client. They already probably have friends. Those referrals happen easiest at the beginning of the relationship because the client's excited about this new thing they're doing. And so definitely when they first sign up a new client, having, like we do some kind of invitation or something like, hey, do you have any friends or family who'd be interested in joining you? We always find in the first 30 days that, having support really increases the chances of you sticking to this. So we'd love to invite one of your friends or family, and, right away, getting one of their friends or family to come on in, right? So that's like an easy, they don't even have to go anywhere. They don't have to do anything. Doesn't cost anything. Just, get one person turns into two, right? And then that, if you do the same thing, that 2 people can turn into 3 to 4 to 5, and that's just asking, right? So referrals are number 1. Number 2 that we see that works the best is what we call gifting, getting in front of them. So looking for opportunities to get in front of your target audience. So if you mostly work with women, and maybe like for us, our target market is women in their 40s, and most of them are caretakers. So, whether they're moms or they are nurses or teachers, or they're in some kind of caretaking role throughout their day. So we think through, like, what is their day like? Where would they be? Where would they buy their Starbucks? Where would, and that's where I'm going to go buy my Starbucks, right? I'm going to be wearing my Results Fitness shirt, and I'm going to be there every morning, right? And I'm going to start talking to people. So how can you get in front of the people that might be a good fit for your clientele? If, think about the clients you're currently training, and where do they, what wine bar do they hang out at? What restaurant do they eat at, right? Why don't just go hang out at those spots, and you're bound to get to know people and start to share what you do and share your passion. And, pretty soon you'll find you have new clients coming in. So that's an easy way for trainers, they're people. So get them in front of people, right? Like, if they just talk to people and tell people how excited they are about what they do, they're going to get people excited about it. So I think it's just a matter of them getting out and sharing it.
I really like that. And I really love the emphasis on the 30-day, like the start rate of just like, hey, bring your friends, bring your family, especially because we're emphasizing so much these small group sessions with our clients. And that's a super easy way to just be like, hey, bring a friend in, like bring them to our group session.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, and they're like, oh yeah, that'd be great,
Totally.
So,
and it's so much easier in the beginning because they're already talking to their friend. They're like, oh my God, I just joined this new gym, they're already having conversations about it. So you just have to give, and so we do like VIP passes where they can give their friend, like if you give something nice that, hey, you mentioned your friend, and especially if they mention someone specific, hey, you mentioned your friend Susie here, I wanted to give her a pass, make sure, you give this to her and tell her to come join you, so that way it's even more specific, and then they feel like they're going to leave the gym and call Susie and be like, dude, I got you a new 30-day free membership, like come join me, so like they're all excited about it. So it's not just like bring anybody, like it's more like, you mentioned your sister, bring her in, I know you said she really would want to do this with you. So the more specific you can get, the even more powerful it can be.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, I want to ask you one more question, but then okay. I won't take too much more of your time because I know I said 30 minutes, so I'll let you hop off. Just thinking of that, like in you guys' culture, I think you built a great culture, and even the gyms you've worked with have built amazing cultures, right? Yeah, you walk into Ben's gym and everybody's like, hey,
yeah.
right when you walk in. What are some of the things? Because I know, like, even looking at those guys' gyms, they do things for their culture where it's not training, right? It's not personal training. It's not fitness. Like, I think I've even seen like a wine tasting day and so forth, right? That you're just all meeting at the gym, or maybe you have a different location, but you're trying to create that culture where it's like, hey, we're all friends. We're all part of this together. And when it comes to fitness, it doesn't always have to be like lifting heavy shit, right? And so what are some of the stuff you guys do at your gym?
Yeah, I think that's an important, key piece is you want your clients to start to feel like they didn't just join a gym. You want them to feel like they joined something bigger, where they are making friends and they are part of a community, and that's something that for us, a lot of what we do is like we'll meet up for 5K races, like just like, hey, you guys, there's a 5K this weekend in the park, and everyone will show up with their Results Fitness gear on. And then, we'll like, do a party every once in a while, like, throw a party at the gym or things like that. But it's definitely, or like there's a street party. So like our, one of our anniversaries we did, there's like a street party right by our gym every Thursday night. So that, a lot of our clients and team will go. It's kind of more casual, but it's just like, hey, we're all going, and everybody will end up going. I think one of the keys is really, like making sure if your team are cultivating those relationships. And like, if they, as people start to get to know each other and like you have that real friendly atmosphere, it starts to happen naturally. It's not even something that's necessarily always super structured, or like on Thursdays we do wine tasting, and on, like it's actually just kind of a culture. Like, it's just where people hang out. They come in, like you said, you walk in and everyone's like, hey, how's it going? Like, our clients all say it's cheers, TV show way back. Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say it's like cheers, you walk in like, Norm, what's up? So that's how they feel, right? And if they make them feel that way, then they're going to naturally, they go across the street and have, breakfast after their workout. But we've done like at that street party we did where we did a flash mob. And so we like taught everybody a dance routine, and then we all showed up because they have like a live band playing. And so I like reached out to the live band and I was like, hey, we're going to be coming out like with our gym, and we want to put together a routine for, one of your songs. Let's talk. And it was like an 80s band. So they gave me like their song list, and we picked a song, and we did, I Get Knocked Down, But I Get Up Again. And we basically like taught all our clients. I did like a video of it. So I like sent it out so they could practice at home and stuff. And then we all showed up and like, at this street party, and everyone's sitting watching the band, and then that song comes on and we all jump up and start doing our whole dance routine. And like, just fun stuff like that like, who, like, what gym are they going to go join and do something like that, so I think you got to get creative. You got to think about like, what would your clients have a good time doing? But also I think it's important to not force it and make it more natural. Like, if your clients are into rock climbing, or they're into hiking, or they're into, drinking wine, or they're into like, what are they into? So that kind of starts to happen naturally, and it starts to really build that camaraderie and that community, and I think that is very important to a key to building a fence around your clients so that they don't start looking elsewhere, is, really having that community feel that they feel like they're a part of something bigger than just a gym that they signed up for 10 sessions with, Sorry, my dog's joining.
Awesome. No, you're good. I think my wife walks by. Usually I have my toddler that'll just come like screaming by in just his underwear usually when I'm on a call. So no, that's awesome. Like, I appreciate it. Cause I mean, I know that even in just my own personal coaching, I have clients that are friends now, and it just started with invitations. Like, hey, come to my house and hang out and have dinner. And not every client's going to be coming to every event, right? But you start creating that culture where it's just an open invite. And then everybody else starts doing it themselves, right? You don't even have to invite them to anything. It's like, hey, I'm going here. Do you guys want to come? Great, cool. But yeah, like you said, you surround yourself with a wall almost, where it's, you can go like get program design or lift heavy things with someone else, but are you going to get the buy-in in what you have here with family, right? That's because that becomes their family, where it's, hey, this is my gym family and I just want to hang out. So I think that's awesome.
Super important.
I'll let you go though, so I'm not taking, I took up extra 10 minutes of your time, so thank you. But I appreciate it. Yeah, like usually we'll have multiple coaches on here. I just wasn't positive. It probably went to your junk mail, because it did that with Michael Keekler too. Like, I reached out to you last week and the week after. It's like, hey, we still on? I never got a message back, and I think it just probably did that. So I didn't tell the other coaches yet.
Okay.
So I recorded this, and then I get to send it out to them.
Okay.
So they'll get to see all the same information. We just usually will have somebody like ask more questions too, besides just me and Ashley. But I appreciate it. I appreciate like your time and everything. That's everything. Like, it's nice to know that there's people in our fitness community that's just willing to be like, hey, just from an email, hey, do you mind doing this? And you're like, yeah, no problem. Let's find a time and let's figure it out. So I
absolutely.
I
hope everyone gets a lot out of it. And if they want to, connect more, definitely you can find me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. So it's Instagram, it's just Rach Cosgrove. So you can find me there, or on Facebook, it's Rachel Cosgrove fan page. So hope to meet everybody, whoever ends up watching this, and everyone, continue to change the way fitness is done. And maybe I'll see you guys all at a seminar, Perform Better, or somewhere. So we're headed out to Chicago this weekend for Perform Better, so should be fun.
You should. Are you going to?
I'll be at Long Beach. Yep.
Are you gonna do Long Beach this year? Yeah, we got a few handfuls of our guys going out there, so we'll see you out there too.
I'll see you guys there. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Have a great day.